Hello students, good morning. Now, in your previous today's topic is about your interactive objects. Okay, in your previous period we learned about your components of your multimedia, and in that I told you there were 5 components of a multimedia. Were there? Among the first one is your audio, video, text, graphics, and animations. Okay, now this were your 5 components of your multimedia. Now today's topic is about your interactive objects. Now what do you mean by interactive objects? In the best way I can say that interactive objects is user interface. User interface means, as you all know, that suppose in case if I want to close this tab, actually this is a browser. Okay, now in case if I want to close this tab, what I will be doing, I will be clicking on this button. Okay, this cross symbol. After clicking on this cross symbol, what happens, automatically my this tab will be closed. Okay, if I want to add a new tab, okay, what I will be doing, I will be clicking on this button plus symbol. Automatically you can see the new tab has been opened. Okay, now if I want to select my Wi-Fi or an hotspot, see, if I'm clicking over here, you can see my Wi-Fi access, you can see. Okay, so each and every objects or each and every device, when we are using it, we are having a user interface. User interface means overall look of the particular session is known as your interactive object. Now for what purpose we are using the user interface? Actually user interface means for the user's convenience. Convenience means for as I told you before, user convenience means what happens, users easiness for getting the for getting that particular thing in a short and simple way. Okay, for getting that particular any kind of information or any kind of things which is to be done in a short and simple way, for that purpose we will be using the user interface. And this user interface, in short, it can be said as interactive objects. Okay, among the best example I can show you that hyperlink. Okay, I hope you all know what do you mean by hyperlink, which is learned already in your previous classes, that is your 10th standard especially. Okay, now hyperlink means this. Can you see this? Can you see this Gujarati English downloads? Okay, actually when, as you all know, that whenever we are keeping our mouse cursor over here, it is in a cursor, that means the arrow button will be the arrow cursor will be showing. Okay, whenever we are giving a go, or whenever we are taking that particular mouse pointer to a hyperlink, the shape of that particular mouse will be changed. You can see right now. Now you can see a fingertip shape is there. That means it was in a arrow. Now it has been become to what? It has to become a fingertip. Now this, as you know, that whenever we are clicking on it, after clicking on this particular tab or hyperlink, we will be getting that particular information, or we can jump to a next page. Now this is known as your hyperlink. Why? Actually we know that whenever we want to download some application, when any kind of data or information, any kind of information, if we want to download it, it is not necessary it will be on your directly in your particular page. What they used to do, they used to give a link. Okay, whenever we are clicking on that particular link, what happens, it jumps to next page, and automatically it either it downloads or it jumps to next page and opens it. Over here I am not getting the option as download. What I am getting option as to jump to next page. See, if I am clicking on English, see, it is jumping to next page. Just imagine if this hyperlink is not there. Okay, instead of this hyperlink, they will be giving an index, and below that the whole content, the whole textbook, this is your textbook's PDF. Okay, now this whole textbook, the PDF will be shown over here. Just imagine how messy it will be. Okay, बोलते हैं ना कि खिचड़ी बना दिया पूरा. That means the whole content will be in a particular area, and this will be looking in a improper way. For making in a proper way, what we used to do, we used to bifurcate it. Now what they have done, according to chapter wise. Okay, each and every they have given a serial number, chapter names, and then over here Gujarati and English downloads has been given with a hyperlink. Just imagine the whole Gujarati and English textbook will be in a display. It will be a messy thing. Okay, and what happens, as a customer, as a user, I won't be able to cope up with that particular page. So what happens, this is your first best example of your user interactivity. Okay, now another example of a user interactivity is your players, that is your video players. And as you know that whenever we are using any kind of video players, we will be having next, previous, pause, uh, forward, backward buttons will be there. Okay, if you don't know, I can show you. I hope you all know that. Still, I will be showing. Yep, see, this is my previous videos. Okay, in that you can see pause button is a, see, this is a play button. After clicking on play button, you will be getting the pause button. See, pause button, stop button. Yeah, this is your increase in speed, that is your backward and forward button. Okay, that means such things why we are getting, because after getting this what happens, this makes the user interaction in a proper way. Okay, for getting this interaction in a proper way, what we used to do, in short, proper way means for users convenience. Just imagine if these buttons won't be there, how will you be close? That means after starting in each and every video, we have to directly stop it. Just imagine if we don't want this particular position, I have to jump, or I have to skip this particular position and jump to your this area. Okay, this area, what I will be doing, if I'm not having this interactive objects, so what happens, you won't be able to jump to your next area. That means you won't be able to skip that particular portion, and you won't be able to jump to your next area. If such happens, what happens, your user have to watch that particular video from starting to end. Okay, till starting to ending, the whole content should be watched by the user. So it will be a time consuming. Okay, it will be time consuming. Why? Because if the user is not having this play button, pause button, next, forward buttons won't be there. Just the thing is that we are having the close button, start and close. So what happens, it won't be a proper way. Okay, for getting your user interactions, we will be using such kind of shortcut. This is your best, another best, second best example of your user interactions. Okay, now another third example of your user interaction is that plugins. Plugins means additional softwares. Okay, additional software is known as your plugins. Each and every software is a, if the software is a big software, okay, if the software is in a large quantity, that means if the software is a big software, what happens, we need some extra plugins. Plugins means, the best example I can give you is that PUBG. Okay, why I'm giving that, because nowadays we all are using these games. Okay, so I'm giving an example of a PUBG. When we are downloading this PUBG from your Play Store, it will be approx 2 GB or 1.8 GB or 2 GB. Okay, after downloading it, after downloading process is completed, that means your 2 GB has been downloaded in your mobile phone. After downloading, again it will be showing a bar which is known as your downloading. Okay, additional information or additional softwares. Have you ever noticed that particular additional software is known as your plugins? That means already one content will be there. Okay, the main input has been downloaded to your phone. Now again, if the additional softwares needed to be downloaded, what they do, they will be giving as a plugins each and every software. Now if I'm taking an example of your Google Chrome, you can see over your extensions, this is also in a plugin. That means this is an additional software, this screen grab. For me, I have added this screen grab. Why? Because for taking a screenshot from in your Google Chrome, I have taken this software. There is a screen grab. Okay, this is an additional software which is not available with the Google Chrome. Yeah, but I can download it an extra, which is known as your plugins. So okay, these are your additional plugins, the best examples. Another, see, West, screen grab, screen capture, these are your plugins. Understood? Okay, that means this is the third best example of your interactive objects. And now another best example of interactive objects is that whenever we are using a text, whenever we are writing something, okay, as you know that multimedia is a combination of five components for text, audio, video, graphics and animations. The whole thing combines together and forms a multimedia. Now text will be also considered as a multimedia. In text also you can see the heading of this. How you came to know that this interactive objects as it is in a heading? Why? Because if, just imagine if they are not written in a another font, okay, you can see the changes in the font. This, the whole content, that means the whole paragraph is in a black color, okay, and you can see this thing in a pink color. That means we comes to know that this is a particular heading, and this, the black whole paragraph, is a content. Okay, that in each and every way, that means they are trying to convey the users. Convey the users means it should be easy for the user to understand it. For in simple way I can say that for users understanding, we are using the interactive objects. Understood? Another best example, this is not in your textbook, I can say in your mobile phone also. You have seen that whenever we are trying to open a notification bar, what we used to do, swipe up, that means swipe down, sorry, we used to swipe up from your mobile phone. That means in your mobile phone, if you're having some messages on, if you have whatever, how many messages is gone, what we used to do, we used to swipe down from the top. Okay, just imagine if this notification bar is not there. If this notification bar is not there, what happens? User has to check each and every application, that from which application I got a message. There are sometimes when user won't be seeing it. Okay, so what happens? It is one of the best example of your interactive object, that is your notification bar. From notification bar, you comes to know that from which all application we got messages. Even but for your user convenience, what they have done, they are not only showing the messages, sorry, they are not only showing from which application, we are also able to read from the notification. That means where there is no need to open it, still we can read it. Okay, this is also one best example of your user interaction, okay, or user interface, or it can be said as a interactive objects. I hope you all understood this today's topic, that is your interactive objects. Three things mainly I have given you example, that is your interactive objects means, in short we can say that user interaction. The simple way of user interactions, user interface is known as your interactive objects. And among the best example I told you about your hyperlink. This is your hyperlink. Okay, hyperlink or navigation. That means what happens? This is your hyperlink. If we are clicking on a particular hyperlink, what happens? It jumps to your next page. Okay, this is the first example of your what? User interaction. Second thing, I've given you videos. Whenever we are playing a video, we will be having the buttons, that is your pause button, play button, forward, next, previous. Such buttons will be there for your user convenience. This is your best example of your second best example of your interactive objects. Third, I told you example is that your plugins. Plugins means what happens? Any kind of software, any kind of big software, this needs an additional software. That means the additional software or is known as your plugin. That means what happens? I've given you example of your PUBG. There were already the game is about 2 GB. Okay, after installing that particular downloading that particular 2 GB file from your Play Store, still they will be you will be getting another message that additional downloads. That means this additional download is the best example of your plugin. Another best example of your plugin is that you can see this Google Chrome, after downloading it, what I have done for my extra facility or extra plugins, I have downloaded the screen grab, iOS software, this such things. This is your another best example of your plugins. Okay, I hope you understood this interactive objects. Now another best example, I told you that text. That means text means for your user convenience, for your user convenience, or for right now for your textbook user is you guys, you students, you are the user. Okay, if students is able to not able to cope up with that, that means this textbook won't be a proper way. Okay, and the best example I told you that this interactive objects, this is your heading. How you came to know that this is a heading? Because the change in font, size, color, such thing will be mentioning as a what? Interactive objects. Okay, another best example I can show you that the heading of this particular chapter. How you come to know that this is your chapter's name? If it will be in a small letter just like this paragraphs, how you come to know that? No, that means this is just to convey your message they are giving, changing the font size, shape, color. Okay, this is the best examples of your what? Interactive objects, which is known as your user interface. Understood? Now another topic which is about your classification of your multimedia. In your first period or your second period, we learn about the components of your multimedia. Okay, don't get confused. Components of multimedia we learn, that is your 5 components are the text, audio, video, animation, graphics. These are your 5 components. Okay, don't get confused. Now this is your classification of or types of multimedia. Now classification of the types of multimedia can be divided into 2 types, that is your second one is your non-interactive. Say in your first topic, in this chapter, first chapter, we learned the topic that is your components of your multimedia, because in your MCQs there will questions will be coming in this way: how many components of your multimedia are there? So don't say give the answer as 2. Okay, the components of your multimedia are total 5. Okay, that is a text, audio, video, animation and graphic. But the classification of the types of multimedia can be divided into 2, that is a interactive, and second one is a non-interactive multimedia. Okay, because many of the students, many a times till this year, what I have experienced, that whenever I am asking such questions, how many types of multimedia are there, or how many components of multimedia, you won't be able to cope up with that. What happens, you used to say, whenever I used to ask components of multimedia, how many components of multimedia there, students are writing that there are 2 types of or 2 components are. That is wrong. Components are total 5 and classifications can be divided into 2 types. Okay, now right now we are going for classification of multimedia. Classification of multimedia can be divided into 2. The first one is interactive and second one is a non-interactive. It is a very simple topic. Interactive multimedia. Interactive multimedia, the best example I can say that your classroom. Okay, as you know that in case if he teachers used to explain something, some topic, okay, in case if you are having any kind of doubt, what happens, you will be just raising your hands, okay, so that you can ask the doubt. This is the best example of your interactive multimedia. That means the interaction between the user and the sender. The user means sender and the receiver. The sender means who? The one who teaches the class. That means the teacher is the sender. One who sends the message is the sender. And receiver means who? You students. You students means how? Because the one who receives the message is your students. Okay, that means the interaction between the teacher and the student. This is known as your interactive multimedia. Understood? That may, and the best, another best example. Now second topic is about your non-interactive multimedia. In non-interactive multimedia, the best example is your news. Whenever we are watching a news, what happens? Do you think if live news is going on, okay, live news is going on, we can pause it? Just imagine. Do we be able to be pause it? No, we won't be able to pause it. What happens in case if we are closing the TV, okay, while watching the news? What happens? That particular portion will be skipped. That particular portion will be skipped. That means after that, what will be there? That will be shown to the user. This is your best example of your non-interactive multimedia. That means your live interactions won't be there in your non-interactive multimedia. Okay, another best example of interactive, that means first example I told you that live your classroom. The classroom is the best example of the interactive multimedia. Another best example of your interactive multimedia is your playing the videos. As you know that, as I told you, whenever we are playing a video, suppose if I'm playing this video, okay, so if I'm playing the video, just imagine if I want to go out for any my personal purpose. So what I will be doing, I will be clicking on pause button. Okay, after clicking on pause button, what happens? This video will be stopped. Okay, so after again for my convenience, I can start it again. It will be starting it again. Okay, again if I want to stop it, I can stop it. That means it will be working according to my wish or my will. It will be working. Okay, but this is the best example of your interactive. That way, another example, as I told you, classroom. And as you know that if some topics, if students are not getting able to understand certain topic, they can raise their hands and they can ask the teachers that sir or teacher, such topics I am not able to understand. Please explain it again. This is the best example of an interactive multimedia. In the non-interactive multimedia, what happens? Just imagine if the news reporter is reading the news, and if you are saying in between, if you are raising the hand from the home that I'm not getting this topic, do you think they will be explaining it again? No. That means that part is gone. This is your best example of your non-interactive multimedia. Okay. Today we learn two topics, that is the interactive objects. Okay, and interactive object, the best example I told you that interactive object, in short, it can be said as user convenience or user interface. Okay, and the next topic we learn is about your classification of a multimedia. Classification of multimedia can be divided into two. First one is your interactive and second one is your non-interactive. Interactive, the best example of interactive is your live classroom. Okay, and the second is your non-interactive multimedia, which is as I told you, live news. Okay, in both the cases there is a differences there. Another one more topic is that, as I told you, components of a multimedia. This is just a revision. Components of a multimedia can be divided into how many parts? That is your 5 parts. That is your text, audio, video, animation and graphics. Classification or types of multimedia can be divided into 2 parts. That is your first one is interactive and second one is your non-interactive. Okay, I hope students you all understand today's topic. Thank you.